I think it's our first time talking to you since the rule change with the kickoff became official. I guess what was kind of your initial reaction to it, and how has that revamped your overall strategy to teaching the play coming in the OTAs?
Excitement, number one. Very excited. The players are excited. If you think about it, last year in the Super Bowl, just use that as an example, 13 touchbacks. Now it's going to be 13 balls to return. So returners are excited. Their value is going to skyrocket. So for example, you're a kick returner, we can get with 2 back there, but let's just make it easy math because it's easier for me. If you have 1 back there and you kick off, you get 80 kickoffs, that guy's going to touch the ball 80 times possibly next year. And he's guaranteed that. Where, before it's only your best receiver or your halfbacks that are guaranteed touches. This guy's going to get 80, where last year we got 11. So the value skyrockets. The value skyrockets for the position players because now they're covering every rep. So the leading tackler in the league is going to probably go back to the early 2000s, 36 tackles on special teams, whereas it was only 16 tackles this last year. So their value goes way up. As coaches, naturally we want to play every play. So there's going to be 10 plays a game, 5 kickoffs, 5 kickoff returns that are added into what we're grading, what we actually have to play. We can't have the out of kicking the touchback anymore. Or you're going to get the ball at the 30 and you're going to give up big drive starts. So we love that part of it, because now we're going to cover every rep. We get a chance to return every rep and got to shed, block, tackle, and teach.
Tom, you're in a kind of a unique situation as a special teams coordinator. I don't know if there's a comparison to that, but you have to figure out how to advance it as a return team, but then also cover it as a coverage team. So you have to figure both sides out of it. Can that help, from seeing it from one vantage point, help from the other vantage point, and vice versa?
There's no question. What we've tried to do is, really this last week and even in the first 2 weeks of the off-season program, let Daniel try to beat our returners. And when I say that, he's trying to put balls on the ground or he's trying to put balls in the air, and really you're just playing in a 20-yard rectangle. So if he can hit the 19-yard line one play and then the 1-yard line the next, you got returners and they don't know where it's going to go, and we can go when the ball hits the ground. So the difference between the XFL and our model is we can go when the ball hits the ground and we're back at the 40. That's your advantage on kickoff. The kicker becomes more valuable also. Because now if he can put the ball at the 2 edges of the rectangle, you got a chance to get much, much better. And we've learned a lot from our returners, because our returners all of a sudden are beating him. And then the next day he beats them. So we are finding out where to align these guys to get to the edges of the field, talk coming back to the middle, and so on and so forth.
With all the changes in special teams, Tom, do you have to go to AP and maybe ask for some more special time in practice, just because there are so many changes?
Yes, but you got to be careful about running their legs out, so on and so forth. But the biggest thing is for example, let's say I kick off and it goes here, right here to you. Okay, that's the point of attack. We have to win on kickoff cover here. Okay, the backside's still at the 40-yard line, so we're long ways away. Your point of attack, wherever the ball's kicked, these players are very, very important on kickoff cover. They're also important on kickoff return. So it's one of those where the biggest thing he's given us is we get walkthrough time that's built into the practice at the end, so the players can visualize it. Because this is new to them, it's new to everybody. They've never done it. It's very awkward to watch a ball hit and then be able to go. And just remember, within this play, what we wanted to do is take away space and speed. So the 25-yard run is gone. And if you really think about what's the biggest difference, just remember that last year at the 40-yard line, guys are going 19 to 21 miles an hour. We're going 0. We're going 0. So we're starting at nothing, and you're right there. That's about 5 yards. You're waiting there to block me, so the collisions are at 7 miles an hour versus 19 to 20. So it's a big difference.
Who were you anticipating your blockers reading to understand when they can go? Because they're going to have their backs to the ball.
To be upfront with you, the blockers are going to have to go when the kickoff cover team. And when I say that, just imagine if you're looking back and I kicked off, and you stay looking until he catches it, and then you turn, I'm already gone, and you're not gonna be able to see me. It's like trying to fight somebody, and you're turned this way, and they're right here. You're gonna get, probably gonna lose that. So I'm gonna have to go when you guys go. Okay, and you really watch their feet, so on and so forth. Well, what they could do is they could drop down into a stance, little things to try to get you to false start. So there's some different things going on in the league.
When you talk about learning from the returner, some of what you have to do on the kickoff and that sort of thing, how much do you expect this to be an evolving process all season long, where you know, you're still looking at things and evaluating all.
I'll be honest with you, 100% of the season. You know, because we're gonna steal ideas from other people. It's brand new, you know, it's something nobody's ever done. You're gonna steal from each other, you're gonna steal leverage from each other, you know, I think it'll go all the way through the, you know, the Super Bowl on the last play.
Do you like it?
I love it. I love it. I love it, yes.
You are known as kind of a tactician when it comes to special teams, so when they change so much, does that just, I hate to use this term, but it's meant as respect, you are the nutty professor of special teams. Does that just make you excited with all the things you can come up with?
Yeah, you know, it's just, what it comes down to is preparation. You know, great players, they prepare. And so if I want to be great, I got to prepare, and I got to come up with the answers before they get here.
Mm-hmm.
And then the answers that I think I have that are wrong, I have to be a teammate and say, hey, we're not doing this because this ain't going to work. Let's move the returners to this spot. I'll be honest with you, originally where we had them at the beginning of the off-season program is not where they're at right now. And I love that part. I learn from the players. They'll come over and they'll say, hey, Tom, don't put us here, put us here. We can get to these balls. And Daniel will say, yeah, let them go there, and then I'm going to do this. And then we can, you know, so I like that part of it.
We talked about maybe extra practice time and how that could work out. What about in terms of selection of players that are gonna be on special teams? Is there more of an emphasis on that of, hey, these guys are actually gonna have to make plays every single time? We're gonna have to talk about who's out there.
Yeah, I don't know that there's more of an emphasis. There's always been, and I'm just gonna speak in this building, there's always been a great emphasis in the 2 years I've been here that they, you know, we spend a lot of time on what players, you know, can help us make the plays. But to answer your question, I think on kickoff return, I think you're gonna need a little more length. And when I say more length, it doesn't mean that the corner can't do it, but you need somebody with a little bit longer arms to sustain the blocks. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit more length from a kickoff return standpoint. Other than that, no. You know, you're only gonna be able to address, and I think you guys all understand it, you got 3 tight ends, you got 5 linebackers, you got maybe 4 safeties. You gotta find those guys that can win at the point of attack. And then if Will's a great backside player for us, who can be that backside player? But you need 2 of them so that they don't know where you're gonna kick the ball at every spot. But you have to mix and match, because you can't just, let's dress 7 linebackers. You don't have them on your roster.
Kind of went under the radar last year, but DJ Turner really turned himself into a pretty darn good special teams player. What does that say about him, who, you know, kind of came in here, I'm sure aspirations to be a wide receiver, which I'm sure he still wants to do, but figured out, like, hey, this is going to get me onto the field, and I got to maximize this.
Trust. Simply. Trust himself. I mean, he trusts himself. If you want, DJ doesn't say a word. DJ just goes, and if you tell him to do this release, he does that release. But he knows he'll succeed by doing that release, and he's seen it on tape. I love DJ.
How much has Daniel embraced, you know, having to learn all these
He
different
loves
ways
it.
to make it?
He's competitive. You know, he's competitive. He wants to beat the returners, you know, every single day. I'm gonna go out there and I want to be 10 for 10 if we have 10 kickoffs. I don't want them to touch the ball. I want it to go into the end zone. I want to get a 20-yard line drive start. Or I want them to have to come up and it hits and rolls, and where we're going as the ball's on the ground, give that kickoff team an advantage. But he loves the challenge.
So Tom, just for clarification on the rules, if he kicks it out of the end zone, they get it at the 30.
Yes, sir.
But if it hits the ground and goes through the end zone, it's the 20, correct?
Yes, sir. But you have to down it. That's the other thing that is brand new in this league. It's a live ball. They haven't had a live ball in this league in a long time. So if the ball hits and it stops in the end zone, used to be dead because no one's touched it, you got to go down the ball. The only time a ball is dead is if it goes outside the rectangle. When I say the rectangle, the white lines. Out of bounds, okay, or through the end line, then it's dead.
Excuse me if I'm mispronouncing his name, but obviously with all these, you know, special teams rules, you drafted Dylan Labe, who was a, you know, special teams unit, kind of an ace, you know, in the FCS level. What do you think of him so far?
Strain. That's it. Strains. You strain, everything will take care of itself. He strains. High, give a darn meter. He strains, he's gonna be just fine. He strains at every single thing he's trying to do. It's that simple, one word.
Just think about it, is the ideal scenario then landing it in the rectangle and rolling it out of the end zone?
There's some scheme there. I think that the biggest thing is from a rectangle standpoint, if I'm a returner, you want me to have to use the whole rectangle to get to the ball. You know what I'm saying? So there's times you could possibly pin him on the 15, which would be better than a 20-yard touchback. But the kicker's got to make this guy play the top 19-yard line to the 1-yard line. You don't want a lot of balls. For example, if I catch a ball at the 10, we just gave him 10 free yards. If we get a ball in our hands at the 15 free yards. Now, if they get it at the 15, but it was rolling and stopped, We just got a head start on it, okay? So what you're really looking for is the differential between when the ball hits, okay, and when they get it in their hands. How much time did we get down the field before he actually gets it in his hands? Like if you get 1.5 seconds, that's 10 yards. And he hasn't got it in his hands yet. So there's some different things to look at.
I apologize, this is gonna be an ignorant question, but I'm ignorant. So with Daniel, does he have to change the way he kicks? Because before it was get it up and get it out. Now it's maybe the
you're not trying to get
trajectory.
touchbacks.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, there's the hang, just to be cutthroat with you, the hang time doesn't matter.
right.
It doesn't matter. You know, if he hits a 1 second ball to the 1 yard line, love it. It's a 1 second ball to the 19 yard line, love it. It's a 1 second ball to the 10 outside the red line and it bounces and goes in. So the faster a ball comes, the quicker these guys gotta react. When it's in the air, I got more time to get into these.
So in describing it, is it be like a pitcher learning how to pitch a new pitch?
No, because these guys have all this stuff in their repertoire from
Okay.
before. Yeah, you would hit line drives before in certain situations. You would hit,
Okay.
Balls to the one versus balls that are short, which we used to call mortars. So it's all there. It's just, it's a different gig now. Knowing that they're going to return every single one.
We got time for just one more, guys. All good?
Thanks so
All
much.
right, thank you.
Appreciate it all.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Coach.
I wouldn't use Bill on the cover screen.